Good afternoon, Julia Ware, creator of I Declare Faith. So I just got finished listening to the most encouraging message ever, at least for this time that I'm at right now in my life, this season that I'm in. So I've mentioned in previous videos that the company that I work for, they made an announcement. It was actually the day before Thanksgiving. They announced that they were going to be having massive layoffs. So I am still actually going through the process. It's taking forever. So you had to reapply and secure an interview and then secure a job in order to stay with the company. So right now I am in the phase of I applied, did what I was supposed to do, and now I'm just waiting to get my interview. And they have said that by April 1st, or rather on April 1st, that would be the day that severance packages would be handed out to those that did not secure a job. So, yeah, I'm in an interesting time in my life right now because I feel like God is calling me to really step out and pursue my purpose. I really feel like that's what He's calling me to do. I feel like I'm entering into a different season. So anyway, the message that I just listened to, or the online, I can't remember what I referred to it as when I first started videotaping myself right now. Did I call it an online message or an online sermon? Anyway, it was a sermon. I'm trying to do better with not stopping my videos and then re-recording. I'm trying to do better with that, so y'all can see all my mistakes and flaws. But anyway, so the message that I just got finished listening to not long ago was so encouraging because it was just like such an on-time word. And the message was about Jehovah Jireh, how God provides. And I can't break it down as good as I just heard the message being preached. But essentially, the message was about Jehovah Jireh, when Abraham was willing to sacrifice. He was willing to sacrifice his son. The son whom God had, there were promises that God had made through his son, right? But when God had called him to sacrifice his son, Abraham obeyed. He obeyed. He had such faith, even when he was walking up to the mount with his son. He said, I can't remember verbatim, but basically he said, we'll be back. We're coming back. So that right there was a statement of faith, right? So as it pertains to God providing, so the name of the place on Mount Moriah, it was known as, or named as, the place where God provides, right? God is our provider. He is Jehovah Jireh. So what I got from that message was that God just wants your sacrifice. He just wants my sacrifice. He just wants us to say yes. And it's in that moment where we sacrifice. And for each person, that sacrifice could be something totally different. It could be the sacrifice of your career. It could be the sacrifice of a lucrative career. It could be the sacrifice of, your time. It could be the sacrifice of your singleness, as the pastor was saying. It could be a sacrifice of, and when I say sacrifice of singleness, in other words, what he was trying to say was that if you're single, you got a lot of time on your hands, right? You don't have a spouse, you don't have children, but it's a sacrifice of your time. So anyway, for each person, sacrifice could mean something different. So I was just so encouraged by that message because as I believe God is calling me to pursue purpose, that may or it may not, hint, hint, involve corporate. So God just wants my yes. I'm convincing myself. I'm thinking out loud, right? God just wants my yes. He wants your yes. And it's in that moment when you say, okay, God, I'm willing to sacrifice. It's in that moment when you actually act upon your sacrifice and you take action, then God will provide. That's when Jehovah Jireh, when he steps in and he shows himself to be your provider. Just like how when Abraham was willing to sacrifice his son, God showed himself as being provider. There was that ram in the bush that God provided. Abraham showed himself to truly trust God, he showed himself to have full faith in God, that God would deliver on his promise. And that encouraged me. There is power in our sacrifice. There is power in us surrendering to God. And you know what else got me from that message? It's that it's less about the assignment per se. It's less about the act. But it's more about our act of worship. It's to be considered as an act of worship. Oh, another thing too that I got from the message was, are we willing to exalt the blessor over the blessing? And that really got me. And you know, I'm like, God, I am willing, and I want to exalt you above all else, above everything else. I trust you, God. I have full faith in you, and I trust you that you can do exceedingly abundantly above all that I could ever ask or think. So I'm encouraged. And I hope you're encouraged too. Declare your faith. Trust God with everything that's within you. He is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all you could ever ask or think. He just wants your yes. Are you willing to give him your yes? Are you willing to sacrifice? Is God speaking to you? Now, maybe this isn't for you. If it's not for you, just stop the video and just move on. But if you feel like God is calling you to something, if you feel like he's calling you to more, and you know that it may involve a sacrifice on your end, are you willing to do it? Are you willing? And if you're not, why not? Is it because you don't trust God enough? Is it because only you know the answer to that? I just want to encourage you to trust God. Give him your yes and allow him to show himself strong in your life as Jehovah Jireh. He is able. Amen. God bless. I'm encouraged. So let me get off this phone because I am driving, and I hope my mom or my dad is not seeing this, especially my mom. She's a stickler for not texting or talking while driving. So on that note, be blessed and have a good rest of your day. Bye. And go declare your faith. Bye.